Baby, he fumbled the bag. Now it's time for a real one to pick it up. They don't make them like you no more. As you can clearly see, confident in my own zone, moving stress-free. I been sorta hating. I was waiting for you to expose it. I let you in the house. Now the doors, I gotta close it. No fake love in the circle. When I got on top, the circle became smaller than a dot. Look at me. You see this history in the making, although they thought I was faking. I don't chase, I attract, straight like that. Confidence ain't in no outfit. Confidence ain't in no car. I'll always get attention. My soul makes me a superstar. It gotta be in you, not on you. No faking this. You ever seen energy shift? Watch how I move in this room. I control the vibes. No need to compare when real is rare. You watching me, you might as well follow me. Rap Talk, what up, though? What up with it? Appreciate you for locking in, tuning in. While rappers and gangsters need love and healing too. Let's talk about it. It's a lot going on the internet. Of course, we done heard about the latest campaign or saying that's going on. What is it? The streets is dead. The streets is over. What 21 Savage to put out here? And it's gaining a lot of traction and feedback. And we gonna talk about it. We just gonna talk about the narrative of how hip hop is moving and things happen and people are easily influenced. And it feels to be a never-ending cycle. But I also want to talk about how our generation, well, at least from my algorithm standpoint, and then the people that I see that's talking about a lot of these things, it seems as if it's mostly the older generation that becoming, self-conscious and self-aware. Now, I could be wrong because it's like the generation that really needs to hear this message. They're only looking up to one thing. They're looking up to who got what and who controls the power and the narrative and who look cool and fashion doing it. And it's a lot of layers to this conversation. Now, 21 Savage, I don't know his age, but he's probably maybe what? 21 Savage, give or take, he's over 30. I mean, we can look it up, but I don't want to look it up. But he's not a young fella, I say. But he's also respected enough by a generation that's younger than the common folk that's, pushing the message that the streets is over it, streets is dead. Because if you notice, it's always the older. And like I say again, if it's some younger people that's talking about it and really putting it out there, we got to give them some shine and give them their whole, those are the ones that need to be on the platform. Those need to be the superstars that's breaking the barrier of, being, my friend, you are say rap music is demonic. Let's put that on the screen right there. Nah, I ain't gonna say not all is, but it is a lot of vibration in the music. And we can go way back. We can go back to, oh my God. For real, for real. Let me calm down. 'Cause just even having this conversation, we gotta remember how we grew up and what we was listening to and how our parents was trying to tell us. I see Dolores Tucker and Dionne Warwick was trying to tell us, and I spoke about this before on the platform. Shout out to Hip Hop Uncensored. I talked about this on the platform before. That they saw it when they had Snoop albums and all that stuff, and they was running over the albums, the parental advisory. And we gotta let's just face it, we were just young and it was the culture. And we felt like they was just infringing on our fun. But it definitely was a deeper rooted message that was behind, the music that they saw. Not saying that it was no crazy meetings and all these different conspiracy things, which some people do believe. And I'm gonna definitely dig deeper into the topic why the rappers and gangsters need love and healing too. But we have to talk about the beginning and the essence of just hip hop and how the cussing was so shock value. And how our age bracket, in them 90s, the alcohol in the 40s, your boys in the hood, your menace to society. And the crazy thing is, having this conversation, this is all shit that my generation grew up on. If you grew up in the 90s, this was the culture. I mean, like even this hat right here, this D hat. Even though I'm from Detroit, I'm running for that reasons. But I never just forget, seeing Ice Cube, sipping the 40 and boys in the hood with the D hat on. Stuff like that. Just the symbolism of gangster, Crips and Bloods, LA, Compton, Detroit, all the major cities, your Chicagos. And what's crazy is I'm from Detroit, but look at the image that Compton had. I'm talking about we just straight up just knew Compton was just a straight up war zone. I'm talking about as soon as you come outside, gunshots was just ringing off. I mean, that's what we thought of Compton when we watched Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. Who was from Cali? Shout out to the chat though. Shout out to all y'all. Well, NWA and there was some Cali and Compton or the areas. But I'm just talking about, even though Cube had the D hat on, it was just relatable by me being from Detroit and the Midwest. Your St. Ives, all of that. All of this stuff made a generation and a culture of just, let's see how dark we could get. Let's just see how much we could just throw out there to the narrative of everything is bad. Everything is hood. And don't get me wrong, we did have our balance with the music, the gimmicks, your Humpty dances, your MC Hammers, your Vanilla Ice, all of this stuff. But now let's speed this conversation up because I'm going to fast forward a little bit. I don't want to just stay too much in the past. I really want to talk about how I feel it's a deep-rooted feeling by a lot of these rappers who not only put out a false narrative, but deep down inside, something was just missing. And we hear it a lot in their interviews, not only the ones back from our generation, but even the ones today. Even though the interviewer, they look for the dirt, they look for the gossip, they look for the drama. In the beginning of every interview, you ever notice that? I mean, your Vlads, your whoever, I mean, the Blue Couch, say cheese, whatever. It's all rooted in, let's talk about the griminess. Let's talk about the violence. I mean, let's not forget that it's sensational. And see, what happens is a lot of people like to look at a story from afar. If it don't involve you, or if it's not close to you, generally people don't give a fuck like that. They really don't. They're just infatuated with the story and just hearing the survival, hearing the killings, the murders, the robberies. Why you think all of these channels with all these violent crime shows run for years? I'm talking about, what's that one Ice-T been on? Shit been on for about 30 years. Yeah, CSIs and all this stuff. They recycle these stories because they never run out. They just switch the characters around. And it's a sensational, I'm talking about a sensational, but it's a feeling inside the body when people watch these shows and see some crime or bad news. Because like I say, again, you can watch it from afar. This ain't got shit to do with you. You know, this is not touching your family. This is not touching you. I mean, even though down the line it's really touching you because you infatuated with crime and gangster. The gangster was always sexy. I'm talking about to the naked eye. It was always some of influence in the hood. I mean, who's not in love with the bad guy, or who don't want to be involved with the bad guy but don't want to be involved with the bad guy? And that's where the temptation is at with a lot of these youngins and even older people. I mean, even though it's fucked up if you still old and living in that type of energy and want that type of attention. But what happens is a lot of people, okay, let's just take it back to high school. If you couldn't play sports or if you weren't smart, what was left to be popular at? You know, you couldn't read, you couldn't do the math, you wasn't on the football or the basketball team. And I get this, because I was somewhat a victim to this. Okay, we gonna fight then. Okay, you gonna know me for something. We in the hood, we gonna rep our hood, you rep your hood. I ain't on the basketball team. But I know the attention I get after I done sock somebody or something, or I know the attention I get if I'm known for fighting, or, oh, that's him. Oh, he from that hood. That's who that is. I know him. I know you. You know? And what happens is, it then translated over to the rap music and the gangster, the whole persona. I mean, we living in the world now. What's your story? If you ain't got no storyline of some wild shit and you coming into this rap or entertainment thing, unfortunately, you ain't gonna last that long. And who want to hear from you is the people that's caught up in your story. Because see, it used to be a time when you could just put that in the music, and when the people listen to your music, we can get the story. And that's what made albums and stuff sell more anyway. Because we wanted to, we was caught up in the, because see, you had an album to tell your story. But see, now you got Instagram and Facebook, and a lot of rappers don't even understand right now. You talking so much online, that's why people don't really want to listen to your music like that. We know your story. It's no mystery. It's no mystique about you. It's nothing. And I know I'm all over this place. I know I'm all over the place with the conversation because what I really want to get at is the root of this. It's attention based. And so many people are falling victim to it. Your rappers, the gangster. It's all, hey, look at me. I mean, look at what we doing. Look at what we doing with the TV shows. Look who they rewarding. Why wouldn't all the gangsters, you know, all the Meeches, and you know, I can go on and on about gangsters and D-boys who done came home. And some of these people don't even want to touch that life or don't even want to equate themselves to that stuff no more. But there's nothing they can do about it because it's all they got. And when I say it's all they got, it's all it's all a years past persona that's gonna follow them forever. You got so many gangsters. Remember when the DVD era was out? You had all these different DVDs on all these different gangsters who did time, who did snitch, who did survive. People come home, what, after 20, 30 years and come home and jumping on DVDs, doing interviews. I heard Butch Jones home too, where he is home. He did an interview online. For those who are not familiar with Butch Jones, he's pretty much the alleged founder. Well, I don't say alleged, but people know the story. He did time for YBI. If you're from Detroit, you know who YBI is, and you know the movement they got. I heard he did an interview. It came up on my timeline, but I didn't watch it though. But he's home. He did about 20-something years or something like that. But he definitely a factor. But let's just talk about the energy of just gangsters and rappers. The deep root of it all is how we grew up and what was missing. That's why the attention is always even though to get money come with the attention, some people want it, some people don't. But the thing is, it follows you forever. That's why they always say, be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for. You just may get it. Even if you try to escape it now, this shit's haunting you and following you forever. Street shit. And a lot of people don't understand. You know, you can still get laid down for some shit that happened 10, 15, 30 years ago. Some people don't talk about that, but you know, it can happen. People do got family, people do got kids who grew up and heard about you or heard stories and all of that. You still can die for some shit that happened 30 years ago. You do know that, don't you? I mean, this is just real life shit. It can happen. So, but when it comes to the rappers and a persona, because here's the thing. The rappers want to be the gangsters. But then on one hand, the gangsters now all want to be the rappers. Somewhere within like the late 90s to the early 2000s, that's when the whole switch and conflict started happening. Because here's what was happening. All the guys that was running the streets, the rappers was talking about their life. That's why you had the whole term studio gangster, all this. Like, you just a studio gangster. Like, how is you running around saying what I done did or this, that, and you making all this money, supposedly torn and all this. You faking a lifestyle, but it's a real gangster over here who lived it, sacrificed, and damn near died for it. So when all the rappers started getting popular, now all of a sudden all the rappers, they got the gold chains, they got the girls, they got the cars, they got the houses, talking about the gangster's lifestyle, but they can somewhat live without the sacrifices of doing all the things that the gangsters was doing on the street. So what happened was, while all the rappers was getting theirs on, all the gangsters on the side looking like, man, these niggas, you know, when we come to the bar, we go to the club, they taking all our women, they taking the whole lifestyle. You know, they the popular ones. And then the women was semi-smart. They're like, okay, if I can get all this glamour and glitz without all of this risk of fucking with a real street nigga, and I can fuck with somebody who getting money and on TV and on the radio. So boom. So what happened while the rappers was popping, all the gangsters looking like, okay, well, if he can get away with it and he didn't do it and I did it, shit, I'm about to rap too. So then that's when we had the whole pile on of all the street shit. I say late 90s. That's when you start seeing all of these record labels, and it was just looking so raw. That's when you had your No Limits, your Cash Monies. Even though Rap A Lot was around before, but you know, you had your Rap A Lot, Suave House, all of these independent labels that was pushing the narrative to be from the streets. I mean, whatever the background is, they still was pushing the narrative, we from the streets for real. So what started happening was all the different street guys came into the rap game, pushing the gangster image, pushing the street image. So while they doing that, it's a whole wave of just anybody from the streets with a couple dollars. I can do it. I can do it. Oh, I'm about to be in this rap game. Oh, that's where everybody going to. We see it all the time. Anything that's popular, not only the streets make it popular, but sooner or later, somebody from the streets is going to jump into it and it's going to turn dark. And it's about to happen. It's kind of already done semi-happen with streaming a little bit. Streaming is going to be hard for it to happen because streaming is a little bit more hands-on. And keep in mind, there's different levels of streaming. Now, you could just have your phone and not be recording somebody. I consider that just YouTube and social media. But even though that's a form of streaming, and we kind of didn't think that, though. Look how many violent crimes we done seen caught on tape that was on YouTube and that was on Facebook, Instagram, social media, stuff like that. We seen crimes on these sites. So it was bound to happen. And that's another form of it too. All the street people was looking at that too. They was looking at social media. They're like, come on, man, all these people getting all this attention. And this is taking me to my title. I'm still on my title while I'm not just steady just dwelling on that subject. The whole underline of all of this shit is that these so-called gangsters and rappers, the bottom line is they want attention, they want love, and they want somebody just to tell them like, okay, it's gonna be okay. I mean, we see it all the time on social media. It's a cry out for help. And a lot of them, when they filming themselves, when they saying certain things, when they belligerent, when we know when they drunk or when they high, when they zoned out, when they speaking on certain things and in they TikToks. Why you think a lot of those videos get a lot of play? And it be fake love. Let's be real. That shit don't be real. A lot of that love don't be real online. A lot of people just like to see the crash out. I mean, it goes back to what I was just talking about, 15, 20 minutes ago. People want to look at shit from afar, but as long as it ain't got nothing to do with them, they really don't give a fuck like that. Now, you might have your couple, two, a few that really genuinely care, but think about the things that you follow when you look at it. Okay, the title is the title. And let's just put that out there. Every video that get put up, it has a title. So you somewhat know what you about to get into when that title just have trigger words that just turn you on. You know what I'm saying? So when you click on the video, whether it be the gossip, the blog, or a number, or some, or whatever your algorithm is pushing, it's certain trigger words that turn you on just to even click on the video. So when you see these rappers and there's some type of drama or a beef, now that's a real big trigger word. I ain't gonna say it's as popular as it used to be because a lot of people then just flipped it up and changed it and use words like expose or this or that, but definitely beef. About 10 years ago, the word beef and the algorithm definitely had your shit skyrocketing. It's about skyrocketing. But skyrocketing your video because you looking, okay, damn, who beefing with who? Who such and such? But the cry out for help from these gangsters, rappers, at least years ago on TV when they used to have your gangster shows like that, they used to always at least throw that one story in there that was kind of healing or trying to make you double think about the street shit or the gangster shit. I give them that little tiny bit of credit. It kind of makes me think about right now. Now, this might be before some of y'all time. Some of y'all might remember this and some of y'all may not. But just real quick, it just made me think of how they had that special banging in Little Rock. I don't know how many of y'all out there remember that. It was about Arkansas, how they had Crips and Bloods. No, Little Rock. Yeah, Little Rock, Arkansas. So they had a whole special, and then this was a real big special. Mind you, this was like at the hype and when gangster rap was, this after Colors, this around Menace, this around Boys in the Hood. I'm talking about Crip and Blood shit just everywhere. So it was a special, and it was called Banging in Little Rock. And they were just showing how down in Little Rock, how they got gangsters. Because everybody looking at Little Rock like, why is this a little small ass town? Like that ain't Compton, that ain't New Orleans, whatever, that ain't Chicago. Why they got gangs down there? Like, why? Why? Like, that's supposed to be a little hick town or whatever. So when they made this special or a documentary and they were talking to these kids and families and asking them, like, why they in gangs and stuff like that, it was one person on there a lot of people kind of like gravitated to. I can't think of the actual person. I want to say he was a little YT boy or whatnot. But it was certain people on that special. You look at them, you would get a little sensitive, like, man, these ain't nothing but some little fucking kids. I mean, we was young ourselves watching it. We were just amazed by the whole point it was just going down in their city. But dramatically, just throwing stories out there though. I gotta give some of the people back in the days credit when they would make documentary stuff like that. They'll try to throw a little bit, tad bit of a lesson in there just to make you double think like, okay, like I see this shit, but I don't want to do this shit. I'm not about to attach myself to this shit. But now it's just a straight up just free for all. The more gangster, the more wild, the more clicks, the more wild stories, the more whatever. Bring it on. That's what we want. That's what we want to show and expose. So it's something to think about. And when I hear the spin the blocks, and I'm kind of glad that drill shit ain't as popular as it was, maybe like 2 years ago. Now it's still out there, but that drill, that whole New York drill music and overkill, it don't seem as if it's as popular as it was maybe 2 years ago. Now, I ain't saying I was listening to the artists and I was tapped in. I'm speaking from a standpoint of on the big scale of being promoted. Those artists. That drill shit, it ain't lasting long. It had its little time, and they probably still doing their thing, don't get me wrong, on the underground tip. But when I listen to these rappers, and it's crazy how we the ones that became, sensitive to this shit. We had our spices. It's crazy. It's a big ass, if you think about it, man, life is just a big ass contradiction. But I still want to pass this story on because if I can reach somebody who younger, or if somebody, play this for somebody who younger, or who just stumbled across this video, really think about it like, okay, damn, it really was like that. But we had our spices. We had our gangster nips. We was listening to Scarface. But the only twist was some of them. Not all of them. They'll throw some consequence in the music. Like they'll tell you how the story ends. They'll tell you like, okay, I got shot. They'll tell you this. They'll throw that in there just a tad bit in their storytelling. Some of them, but some of them was just overkill. Your MC8s, I used to listen to all that shit. The NWAs. I can go on and on and on. So many artists off of Rap Alive. I'm talking about straight up gangster. Gangster. It's actually one of them Rap Alive groups. Matter of fact, it was the Baby Ghetto Boys. I know a lot of y'all ain't gonna remember them. Y'all probably won't. But I used to listen to all that shit, dog. The Baby Ghetto Boy, what TMT, Too Much Trouble. Boy, they used to have some crazy topics. For real, for real. And it's somebody, I wish I could shout him out. See, I don't be on Instagram no more, but it was coming up on my timeline. It's somebody on Instagram. They got a whole page that's full of like a whole bunch of wild ass lines from a whole bunch of different rappers from our era. And a lot of them songs that was coming up, I was like, wow, they was saying all of that shit. So it's like we in the mode of trying to pass on the message, but we was the ones that fucked up. So it's hard to recover from it. We was the ones that was talking the shit in the music. But let's just face it, in the end of Boys in the Hood, Doughboy did die. In the 80s, Scarface did die. Even though they ain't show Doughboy die, but it was written. It maybe should have been just straight up shown. It would have had more of an effect. Now that's just my little tidbit. Old Dog did die in Menace. I mean, so it's borderline was a message. But how many people gonna repeat those lines or pay attention to that? I mean, if it touch you, it touch you. These rappers need love. These rappers need somebody just to tell them everything was gonna be okay before they rapped about the shit that they rapped about, that they rapping about now. And we come so far that it's hard to like convey this message. Because look at to this day. Pac is still respected. It was the balance. But was it negative in the message? The healing was inside of Tupac. I mean, let's just talk about it. Pac wanted love. Pac needed love. I mean, let's just go down that rabbit hole just a little bit since we there. Look how Pac moved. Pac needed attention. Going group to group, hood to hood, friend to friend, city, city. I mean, this story been told. I mean, even his demise. A lot of people just say it was basically because of gangbanging. Now, was Pac a gangbanger when he first started rapping or when he came out? We know he was socially and politically inclined. But how did he pass away, though? He was around some people that got him out of jail, put him on. That's looking for comfort. That's looking for love. Even making that decision, even Tupac making that decision to come out of jail and say, I'm about to roll with Death Row. Was needing love. It was needing healing. It was needing somebody. I need somebody. If you locked up and somebody putting a contract in your face, ready to change your life and can change your whole situation after signing some paper and after, you feel that they care for you. And it probably was other people that tried to sign Pac. I mean, I don't remember nothing being written or told in no interviews and no stories of who else tried to sign Pac but just think the way Suge and them did it though. They was like, let's get him over here. And for him to make that decision, that was his life. That was one of the most crucial decisions that he made in his life. Now that we look at it in hindsight, to get out of jail and sign with Death Row Records. He was only on there for what, maybe what, 2 years? Pac was only out of jail for what, how long? Was he even out of jail for 3 years before he, before he died? No. I say 2 at the most, maybe 1.5 when he got out. He wasn't on death row that long. But he went where he thought the love was at. And that's what a lot of these rappers is doing. It's a lot of false love just out here. You got the image. You getting the money. And let's just be real. We living in a world where a lot of people thinking that they're not thinking. The attention is the currency. It's just that a lot of people don't know how to monetize off of it and turn it into something. They don't know how to turn it into money. They just feel like, okay, let me just do the wildest shit and see what happened and see who called me and see who put me on. I'm about to do some wild shit. I just want to be on. That's what the social media and stuff is doing. But it's all out of, I need the eyeballs on me. I need the love. Okay, if I'm doing all this wild shit, I'm already hanging out every day. Fuck it. Hey, dog, go get the camera. Let's start running this shit. Okay, we on O Block. Let's start taping this shit. You know what I'm saying? We over here. We here. We in Detroit. We in the hood. We in the projects. Go look on YouTube and search that algorithm of worst hoods, worst dangerous places to be. And look how many numbers, look how many numbers is on that shit and the numbers they doing. Because that ain't your neighborhood. And half the people who want to see that shit is the ones who don't even come from it. They just infatuated with it. They just infatuated with this. Okay, let me see the hood. Let me look at the hood. I ain't going down there, but let me see what's going on in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they down there. Oh, he shot who? Who? That's what they doing. They just want to peek in at the shit. But when you from the hood for real, and you really had to really live through that shit, and you went to sleep hearing sirens and gunshots and shit at night and people arguing and shit. When you really grew up and was around that shit, you be like, come on, man, let's get away from this shit. Like, man, I'm tired of this shit, bro. And even though we became so, what they say the word is, I'm about to say synthesized. But you know what I mean. Like, we were so used to that shit. That shit went nothing just to be like, oh man, so, you heard of such and such got popped up, boom, boom, boom. Or this person got locked up. You like, damn. Carry on about your day. But if it was family or somebody close to you, of course it's gonna hit a little bit different. But these rappers, the bottom line, the whole undertone is, man, just need some love. Need love for real. I ain't gonna say it. That's why the first thing they say in the interviews, yeah, father was gone. Yeah, I went to the street, I had to fend for myself. And don't get me wrong, that is some people's stories. But just because that's your story, that don't mean that's what you gotta put out there. It's a lot of people that grew up in the hood or one family household and stuff like that. I mean, whatever the regular story is, that still can put a positive narrative on the story. Look at your Kendricks and stuff like that. Growing up in the middle of a gangbang hood, he still, he can rap about it, but you can always rap and speak about some stuff from a different standpoint, especially if you're a real writer. You don't have to write about it from the perspective of, I do this, let's do this. You can talk about the cause and effects of seeing it and not doing it. You can create a whole legacy about some hood. What you think directors do when they write the movie? Or when they make it to the point to really, take it that far? Although they creating a story and made the whole narrative of it, but they knowing that, okay, I grew up in this shit. I saw this shit. We gonna make a series about this shit or whatever, but we still gonna tell this story from a standpoint of not only survival, but what's the message though? What angle we gonna come from when we do this story? That's what real writers do. That's why people like a Kendrick is respected. Because we know where he's from. But how did he choose to tell his story though? You see how this all revert and goes back to, I say people like to see the story but don't live in the story. You see what I'm saying? And I said this before. That's why so many of them old ass stories just keep getting recycled and cycled over and over and over. All of these TV shows, all of these series, all of these gangsters who just sitting back, whether they done snitched or not, or just still here, you know. They stories get told because people just want to just say, okay, I wanted to see it, but I don't want to live that shit. I have my opinion on that shit, but I ain't about to, you know. Why not make a series on this person, that person, this person come home. Let's do a story on them. This person, all of this, over and over. This shit gonna be what it's gonna be though. But y'all tell me what y'all think. I definitely want to come in and speak on it. Because you can hear it in their interviews. Like for the people that's familiar with my channel, I got a piece that I wrote called Why Is They Forcing You to Be Hard? I may do it, you know, before I end this video because it definitely goes in with the subject that I'm speaking on. But let's just talk about it though. When any of these rappers do their interviews, what's the first thing they start talking about? How bad it was. Nigga, you had some good times in the hood. Nigga, why you can't talk about how you used to be in the swimmobile? Nigga, why you can't talk about how you used to have a fire hydrant outside? How we used to play basketball outside in the hood? Even if somebody did start shooting or whatever, why you can't talk about how we used to have basketball tournaments in the hood in the video? Why you can't talk about how, you know what I'm saying? We used to get ice cream and shit like that, and you know? Why you can't make nothing light of this shit? But that's where we at with it though, man. I can go on and on and on, but y'all tell me what y'all think. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Matter of fact, let me go on and do this piece real quick. Why not? Let me load this up. This was called Why Is They Forcing You to Be Hard? Let me load this up for y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button for the algorithm and subscribe to the channel. Where my headphones at so I can hear this. Let me get this one out the way. Something ain't right. I'm gonna leave that alone. Matter of fact, I'll just do it a cappella. My audio and everything did come through that. But listen, I say, what's up with all this tough talk and selling fake images? So you was supposed to be a player in the game, but you're on the sideline looking like you don't even know what a scrimmage is. You see, it's similar to practice. Like when you practice dodging real substance in your music and interviews. See, let's talk about the change and the growth. Cause see, I ain't influenced about them jail cells you done been into, or what you finna do. Although I'm only gonna respect you for the last thing that you did. Cause see, I'm on my grown man now. And half the stuff y'all talking about, shit, nigga, we done did as kids. And it stayed there. Fool, I got bills to pay. Kids to raise and a message to say, and y'all fake ass tough guys is in my way. Shooting crowds, talking loud, just to get a little bit of attention. You see, it's some locked up forever off just one mistake that ain't never coming home, and you can be next, but you don't even think about the prevention. The invention of these ghettos and projects is a project. And now TV got you scared to go outside, and to our kids, we passing down this nonsense. Dumbing down our views to confuse our angle and focus. Seeing the white community is white on white crime, but they just want you to hate your own people. See, take a look around, haven't you noticed? Cause see, I'm just like you, my brother. So when you see me, put down your guard. Love yourself, and I love you too. Now ask yourself the question. Why is they forcing you to be hard? Why is they forcing you to be hard? Rap talk. They think I don't know what they saying. Before them, I'm still praying. They switched sides and thought it'll work. Now look who hurt. They hated when I was up. They hated when I was down. Now I'm back up. No need for you around. They hate cause they can't relate. Look at you. Don't care about the hate. No need for them to stop it. You the shit. Why wouldn't you be the topic? Focus on paper. Never be a hater. I thought I could count on you, but instead you counted me out. I came in this game with love. What was I thinking about? I learned my lesson. That's why I ain't stressing. The breakup was more reason for me to get my cake up. Even if you gone, I ain't alone. It happened for a reason. Stay strong. If you want to leave, I gotta accept it. There go the exit. I ain't think it was over, but now I see. No more tomorrow, no more you and me. It's amazing how you shaped me when all along you tried to break me.